Hey listeners, it's Tim. Do you sometimes struggle with students who don't practice? This is by far the biggest and most frustrating challenge facing teachers around the world, and so I thought it's time we do something about it. On Monday, the 9th of December, we'll be hosting a special online Christmas event with the amazing Samantha Coates, who'll be helping us understand the role of parents in a successful practice routine. I saw this presentation at the APPC conference in Melbourne in July and it was amazing, so I just had to ask if she'd be kind enough to share it with all of you, and she said yes. So it's on Monday, the 9th of December at 11 a.m. Melbourne time. If you're in the United States, that's Sunday, the 8th of December, around 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We've got a whole lot of bonuses and giveaways to share with you, but you need to be live to access them. Grab your free ticket right now at topmusic.co/Sam. You're listening to the Topcast, the original podcast for growth-minded instrumental music and voice teachers since 2015, with your host, Tim Topham. Our mission at Top Music is to empower instrumental music and voice teachers to find and nurture their innate creativity so that they can teach lessons that are innovative, integrated, and inspiring, and that will have a positive lifelong impact on their students. Join us each week as we interview teachers and creators from around the world and unpack fun and exciting ideas to maximize your teaching and studio business success. Welcome back to the Topcast, teachers. It's great to be spending some time with you again today. I hope you are well. It's Tim Topham here, your host for the show. And in today's episode, we are unpacking our Top Music Sheets composer for November 2024. I'll introduce you to him in just a moment. And we're going to be playing through some of the music as I interview him as well. So it's going to be a great, fun, short episode. And I just wanted to remind everybody listening that these Top Music Sheets collections are available to all our members free of charge each and every month on all of our plans. So even our light plan, which is just $10 a month, will get you a collection of studio licensed sheet music like the ones I'm going to be playing through with you today with Matt and from composers all around the world who we ask to compile a great collection for us each and every month. Studio teachers on our light plan also get a similar pack of studio licensed games to use with their students, as well as access to our entire webinar back catalogue, some of our courses, discounts, all that kind of stuff. But this is just such a great deal. I can't stress it enough. For just $10 a month to be able to have studio licensed music like this that you can use with all your students forever is a pretty damn good deal. So if you are interested and you're not yet a member, then come and join us. It's over at topmusicpro.com. And if you want to find out more about Top Music Sheets, you can head over to topmusicsheets.com. Now, as always, we are always interested in hearing from composers out there, budding teacher composers. If you would like some exposure, then please do get in touch with us. And if you're already a member and you know of a great composer out there who you would like us to feature, then please send us an email, support@topmusic.co, or find us on any of our social channels. It'll be awesome to hear from you. My guest today is Matt Walker. He is a writer, composer, pianist, and piano tutor. He was the resident pianist at the Ramada Birmingham for 5 years, has musically directed many shows with the Trinity Players, the VZ Players, and Aldridge Youth Theatre, and now teaches and accompanies at different schools. For 10 years, he accompanied the award-winning Singing Community of Choirs, winning the Manchester Amateur Choral Competition in 2015 and reaching the category finals, the last 4 of the BBC Choir of the Year in 2012. Matt has also written 7 novels and dozens of short stories, many of which published in international magazines. And we talk about that very, very soon. But for now, well, welcome to the show, Matt. It's so great to connect with you.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you for having me.
Firstly, thank you so much for being our Top Music Sheets composer for this month. I hope you enjoyed the process.
I most certainly did. Yeah, it was really good fun, and I very much enjoyed it.
Well, we're going to play through some of your pieces, find out a little bit more about you and your composing. But I just wanted to say I really enjoyed playing through the music. I thought the variety of levels and keys that you use, really engaging harmonies. There's some kind of pop kind of sounds in there without being a pop song, which I thought was very cool. Evocative titles, I thought was great. And also equal use of both hands, which I think is something we might talk about in the pedagogy side of things. And I have to say that I replayed through the collection today, and I reckon teachers are going to love this collection just as much as the students in some ways, because the second half, the intermediate pieces are just really fun to play. So anyway, really, really excited to connect with you and find out a little bit more about your work. So, by the way, I think you're a novelist, is that right? What genre do you write?
So I started writing when I was about 15, so 22 years ago, and I mostly write thrillers and fantasy novels. And I run the small indie publisher Walker Productions, which publishes my novels and some sheet music on Amazon. But now I've also started writing some books that combine fiction and music. So I've got a combined adventure story and music theory workbook where the reader has to complete the music theory questions in order to progress with the story. And then I've also got a book called The Summoner, which a couple of the pieces in the collection are from, which is where the child must learn the music pieces and they act as like summoning spells to summon favorite children's characters and again carry on with the story. So yeah, and as I say, we'll probably be talking about those pieces as we go.
That's great. I love the idea of storytelling in music, and that's why I really like the use of some of your titles, I think, because a title can say so much for a teacher about how to go about teaching something, I think. So I'm going to play a bit of Waggle Dance, which is the first piece in the collection, which I just think is super fun. This is initial, really early beginner kind of thing. When we've got two hands together, 3/4 time, and it goes a bit like this. I mean, that is going to appeal to so many students. I just love it. Where did the idea for this come from?
The early pieces, I wanted to compose things where your hands are just staying in one position, so you don't actually need to move your hands. So I think that was in A minor, and so I just wanted to make sure the melody and the accompaniment as well, and just stayed in one position. And then I wanted to give some little twiddly bits to the left hand as well, so you're using both hands at the same time. And just some experimentation.
I love that kind of poppy sound. It goes from the A minor to A minor with F in the left hand, effectively, like this F major 7 sounds beautiful. Really, really nice. So, tell me about your composing. Is this full-time work for you, other than the novel writing? Are you teaching as well?
I do teaching. Yeah, I do sell a lot of books, but it's not enough to make a living, unfortunately, although I'd like it to someday. But I do teach piano, and then I also work freelance as a proofreader and editor.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
Is that for one of the publishing companies?
No, it's freelance, and I do fiction editing and non-fiction, so not actually music.
And do you compose for other instruments or mainly piano?
It's mainly piano. I mean, I do arrange for beginner keyboard, and I've done a couple of publications for flute and violin, and I've written some choral music, but I'm really a pianist. And so that's the instrument I focus mostly on.
All right, I might play the second piece, which is Tinkerbell. I'll play a little bit of this, optional swing. And we're back in 4/4 this time. They're just kind of fun. They'll be fun to teach. I like that they've got some patterns, and you're kind of getting students and teachers used to share, like learning how things look on the page and how they feel. Because there's another piece coming up as well that is really kind of pattern based. And I think, it's The Little Mermaid. Let me play you a little bit of The Little Mermaid, because it has this broken chord idea in the left hand, and the right hand has the same pattern, rhythmic pattern, over and over. So I wonder, once I've just played a bit of this, I'd be interested to know if pattern-based teaching is something that you focus on a little bit. Because we want students to see that rhythm and just be able to play it, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that's built mainly major 7 chords, and again, it's keeping both hands in the same position, not moving them. So and then it's building a simple chordal pattern in the left hand, but having the extra 7 element on top, which I think the right hand picks out. But I mean, chords are just so important to composing and to improvising. So that's almost why learning keyboard can be really useful as well, because you're doing the chords in the left hand and learning to pick out chords and learning to build chords is super important. But yeah, that has a that kind of easy listening piano lounge music feel to it, but isn't particularly difficult. So again, hopefully the younger students would have fun learning that one.
Yeah, I think they would. And I think teachers teaching it too, because it's actually quite simple, but sounds really, really beautiful. So you've mentioned chords a few times. Were your childhood lessons quite modern in that regard? Were you looking at chords and pop and improvising, or were you fairly traditionally trained?
Traditional trend. I mean, I did do keyboard to start with, and then I was about 7 years old when I first started. And then I switched to piano a few years later, and I went through my classical grades and got to grade 8. But then when I was doing alongside the classical grades, I'd work on more poppy stuff and musical theatre stuff as well. I really like musical theatre, so a lot of my early compositions were quite influenced by musical theatre. And then I went to university and studied architecture for some reason. Don't know why. Yeah, didn't like it. Wasn't good at it. So I decided to when I left. I did my 3-year degree, and then thought I wanted to be a teacher, and then ended up in schools, which is how I ended up teaching and accompanying in schools. So it's a bit of a roundabout path, but yeah. So my teacher didn't particularly go through composing lessons with me. It's just something I've always enjoyed doing. But obviously, the theory side helps, and the more you play and the more different styles you play, obviously that helps as well.
And I think musical theatre actually, our trajectories are not that dissimilar. I had a big time away from piano in music and education and teaching, but I did a lot of conducting of musical theatre. And the thing about musical theatre, it makes you a great accompanist. You become a great sight reader. You have to understand chords because you've got to simplify everything that you play. But there's also, every musical has a whole lot of genres in it. There's the waltzes and the unpapas, and then there's a slow ballad, and then there's a bit of jazz. And
yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit of everything in them, isn't there? So yeah, it is really useful. When I was about 12, I think it was Les Mis that I was obsessed with. Yeah, it was the real power ballads from Les Mis, like I Dreamed a Dream and Bring Him Home. I think that I first started to want to write like. So, but yeah, as you say, there's so many different styles, and that's really important to get exposed to in order to try and find your own niche.
yeah, in fact, I just saw my nephew in a production of Pippin on the weekend. Are you familiar with that show?
I have heard of it, but was it? Yeah, was it? You enjoyed it?
The music, yes. I already was familiar with the music, but I'd never seen the show. And the music, yeah, definitely check out the music. That you would know some of the pieces for sure. So I might play another one of your pieces actually. This one's called Jabberwock. And again, we're back into 3/4 time, which I really love. And this has got a real umpapa to it. And I like that. You have that little bit of chromatic. It's like, oh, there's a little chromatic edge in the middle as it turns around. Again, really good fun.
Yeah. So Jabberwock is one of the characters from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. So that piece is from the Summoner, and to summon, as it were, this character, you have to play. You have to play that piece, and the child has to learn that piece. But yeah, I just wanted to add that chromaticism in the middle, just so we're not just all on the white keys. just to gradually introduce a bit harder, a bit more difficulties, but a bit more technical stuff.
Now, I'm interested to talk about some of your influences. We've talked about musical theatre. I want to ask you about some more, but before that, I want to play one of your nocturnes. So you've shared with us some beautiful nocturne pieces. I love this. This one is, so this is about grade 4, I think. We're in, well, we've got 3 flats, so we're in E flat major, I think. And we've got this beautiful rolling kind of left hand, and then a melody that just floats over the top. So it goes like this. And I kind of just want to keep playing it because it's super fun. I'm almost glad that the sound maybe on your end isn't so good because I made a few mistakes. So bear with me, everybody. My sight reading in the evening time isn't always amazing. This is just stunning. This is one of the pieces I think teachers will really enjoy playing. Can you tell us how these nocturnes have come about, and were you inspired by, well, the master of nocturnes?
And of course, so not in the same league, but it's basically started with left hand chord and then put the melody over the top. So it was the unpack da, 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 with the left, and then it was building the left hand, and then putting the right hand over the top. And most of it came almost through like an improvisation type of thing. I think it's diatonic, so I don't think there's any accidentals, particularly any modulation. So we're just basically quite firmly in the key of E flat. But yeah, it was just the rolling chords and the runs of the scales as well. It came in like a kind of improvisational sense, and then I'll obviously just write down the sections that I like and redo the ones that needed a bit more work. But yeah, chord or bass start with, and then right hand over the top.
And at bar 17, the right hand does these rolling chords, which I think, I mean, they're fun. They're fun to play. They sound great. I reckon that there's a little bit of an Audi kind of channeled here. Are you familiar with the now? I'm sure you are. That kind of film music, minimalist style composing. And I love that. That's your first inversion E flat chord. I really love, I've done YouTube videos about first inversion movement. It just sings for me. I love it.
And it's very simple. It's just broken chords, isn't it? But there's a very famous piece from the movie Amelie by Jan Tiersen, I think his name is. It's
That's
piece,
what. That's
yes. Autre et l'après-midi or something like that. But yeah, that's a beautiful piece, which you can certainly hear the influences.
That's who I was thinking of, not an Audi. You're absolutely right. Jan Tiersen, yes. I know lots of teachers listening and watching will have taught that piece lots of times. It's such a student favourite.
It's a fan favourite, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So we've talked about, maybe a little bit of Chopin. You've obviously got some classical inspiration. You've got the musical theatre. Any particular other composers or current pedagogical composers that interest you?
Mentioned Rinaldi, and obviously his pieces are quite minimalist in style, like mine are. But my actual favourite composer is Scott Joplin, which might be a bit of a strange one because I don't. Yeah, I love it.
No, what is it? Oh, what key is it in? A flat.
Is it the maple? Yeah, is it the maple leaf?
Oh, I can't remember.
Going for. It's the most fun to play. And the lovely thing about ragtime is it sounds good if you play it slow or if you play it fast as well. So that when you're learning it or when you're sight reading it. But yeah, I mean, my main influences, you've mentioned Einaudi and like Yantis, and definitely in the camp of if it sounds good, it is good. And I mean, Einaudi does get criticised quite a lot for maybe not being particularly sophisticated, but it's just beautiful to play and hear, and that's the main thing. And then on the totally other end of the spectrum, I did a couple of years ago arranged a book of Bach's pieces for easy piano, and he was such a genius. Like just listening to his pieces as preparation. I mean, yeah, probably my favourite composer.
I'm sure you got lots of nodding heads listening. I mean, it's kind of awe-inspiring, and I will never tire of. I've always played. I learned organ when I was much younger. I struggled through that, and quite happily just kind of muck through it. And the chords, it's just his music is quite amazing. And then you've got all the preludes and fugues, which I struggle at the best of times to be able to play.
Have you ever played the Organ Sonata No. 4?
I have not.
Because that sounds beautiful on piano. Yeah, have a look at that because it's absolutely. It sounds quite modern as well. Yeah, Organ Sonata No. 4.
Cool.
There's a really great YouTube video. I can't remember who played it.
Of someone playing it on piano?
Have a look at that one. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, but it sounds quite modern when it's on the piano. It's lovely.
All right, I might play another one of your pieces. This one's called Dream in C minor. Again, we're sort of grade 5, where these are more challenging pieces. This one with pedal, and there was something about this I really loved as well. We've got these great chords, which have this kind of pop sound to them. But anyway, so this is how the start goes. Sorry. I could keep playing it. It's just beautiful and fun to play. By the way, as always, with all of our Top Music Sheets collections, we do have professional, proper recordings that you can listen to if you want to have a listen to them. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is about your pedagogy. You're a teacher, and as I said in some of these pieces, your use of the left hand, you've really balanced things. You've got multiple keys, you've got different time signatures. Would you consider yourself a pedagogical composer?
I mean, yes and no. It all depends on the publication I'm writing for. So Light and Shade, which a lot of these harder pieces are from, is a collection of pieces I just wrote without thinking about pedagogy. I just wrote them because it just sounded good to my ear. However, I do mainly write for beginners, and in these books I am thinking about teaching points. For instance, my best-selling book is Lesson 1 to Grade 1, and that's a method book which includes sight reading and improvisation and theory and scales, etc. And so that does start from the easiest 3 finger pieces and goes all the way through to Grade 1 with all the points in between. So it really depends on the publication.
And so, that method book sort of takes you post. Is it like a complete beginner from the start, or it takes over from a year's worth of? No, it's right from the beginning.
No, literally, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Ba da ba da ba ba ba. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, right from the very beginning, and then right up to Grade 1 standard. 120 plus pieces, I think, is in there, all exercises. Yeah. So that was my. Probably took the longest to complete that because it was a lot of work that went into it, as you can imagine.
So, I mean, you've got a lot of music, and I love highlighting composers on the podcast and in our membership so that we can find out more about you and hopefully get teachers to check out more of your work. You've got quite a catalogue. How did you go about choosing the pieces for this particular collection?
So I wanted to show a range of styles and a range of difficulties, and also a range of publications I wanted to pick from quite a few of my books. So as I've already mentioned, 5 of them are from Light and Shade, but the other pieces are from 3 different publications, which are all written for grade 1. So that's how I got the range of difficulties from just the earlier books, and then moving up to Light and Shade for the more difficult pieces.
And have you got any tips or thoughts about composing, helping teachers encourage composition in students? I mean, I had a great teacher. She was really progressive. She'd help me learn whatever I wanted, but she didn't encourage me to make up my own things. And I know that that's changing. More and more teachers are doing this, but have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it just involved composing in lessons and improvising in lessons as well. So I'll often play for the beginners, play a simple chord progression in C major. So like C, G, A minor, F. Just repeat that like on the bass, and then just ask the pupil to play a simple melody on the white notes over the top. And because it's quite structured, it sounds really good. Just because we're obviously using the key of C major over the C major, just the chord progression, the key of C major, and then you can switch it to A minor and just on the white notes, and then maybe use the black notes and go into G flat or E flat minor, and so the pupils very quickly start to think that if there's a structure behind it, if you're not just picking out random keys, that if you understand the theory behind it, then it's much easier to pick out your own pieces and make them melodic and harmonic as well. And if a teacher doesn't even have much experience with composing themselves, it's really easy to ask a pupil to, with their left hand, just play C, F, and you have the 1 to 4, and just play that alternatively, and then get them to play a simple melody with their right hand over the top. So just start with these basic chordal. Lots of people probably have different ideas, but I'm very chordal with how I compose anyway. But just starting with this chordal approach is really useful, and is probably the easiest way I've found to get kids into composing, or get pupils into composing.
The other thing I love about that approach is that using the scale, the notes of the scale, say C major, teaches students. So yes, it's creative, yes, they're improvising, but it also teaches them that the notes of the scale are related to the melody notes of the key of the piece they're working in. And sometimes kids don't know why they're playing scales. We just make them do it for exercise or whatever. But there is so much more to it. You know, that is the note set that diatonically, at least, makes up the melodies that we're playing. So I agree. I think it's a great, easy intro.
I'll say, why do I have to do scales? And it's like, well, you'll appreciate it when you are.
Right.
When you've learned the theory, and when you're sight reading, and you don't have to worry about the key signature because you already know what's in the key, etc. Yeah, it's really important, isn't it?
What other advice? I'm going to play one more of your pieces. Actually, my battery's going to go, so I should probably do it. Let me do it now. This one's called Heart on Fire. This is another one I think teachers will enjoy playing themselves. So it's got this really free intro, which students can kind of take their time, which is great. And then the main melody comes in. Again, I would love to keep playing, but you get that sense. I think there's almost a little bit of ballad Pour Adeline in that one for me.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, a lot of the interest in that one is in the left hand, and it gets quite tricky in the right hand as well. I think when you're playing in octaves.
Yeah, we do have.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of my favourites though. Um, that's one of the ones that I wrote. Couldn't play it fluently until I practiced it, so I I just wrote it really slowly and then had to practice it to be able to actually play it. But no, that is one of my favourites. I do like that one.
Yeah, it's a great one. I know that teachers will really enjoy that one, and I really encourage teachers to look it up as well. So before I get to my last few questions, I just want to remind everybody listening that this collection, which Matt's been kind enough to share with us, is available at Top Music Pro. This is what we give all our members each and every month. Fantastic new collection of studio licensed sheet music, and teachers can access that on our Lite plan, which is just $10 a month. It's crazy. So it's over at topmusicpro.com if you're not already a member. Matt, I did want to ask you about any advice you might have for other budding teacher composers.
So, universal advice for writers is to write a lot and read a lot. So for composers, I'd say to write a lot and play a lot. So play a wide variety of styles and composers and eras. You can go to your local music library and borrow work from a composer you've never heard of or never played before. Have a good look at all through the public domain, works on the internet, listen to a lot of music, listen to a lot of live music, and practice your music theory.
And what about getting music out there?
Yeah, so this is tricky because there's such a lot of luck involved. I mean, social media is brilliant, but again, it's very tricky to get the exposure. But YouTube and TikTok, you can self-publish on Amazon, which is what I did. Or I think other places like Lula, you can also self-publish. Is a great way to get your work out there as well.
Yep. Yeah, it's the tricky part, right? I mean, you can write the best music, but if it's not seen by people. So this is why I love being able to offer these collections to composers. What would you say to other composers about the process of creating one of these Top Music Sheets collections?
Well, if you can take part, it's been such a good experience. And as we've talked about before, try to choose a variety of styles and difficulties. But I decided to aim for grade 5 or below, just to have as wide-reaching appeal as possible. But it's such a good opportunity to have your work exposed to more pianists and teachers who may wish to use it with their own students. And who knows, you may become someone's favourite composer.
That's right, yeah. Well, thank you so much again, Matt, for putting this collection together for us. I really have enjoyed playing through it. It's been great fun. Where can people go to find out more about you and your music?
Fortunately, my website is being redeveloped at the moment, which isn't very good timing.
That's okay.
But you can find all my publications on Amazon. Just type in Matt Walker Piano Books, and then you can follow my Facebook page, Walker Productions, and subscribe to me on YouTube, which is Matt Walker Pianist.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think YouTube's a great place because you'll be able to hear what the pieces are all like, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Matt. I'll let you get on with your day, but really appreciate you contributing this. It's fabulous music, and I really encourage everyone to go and check out more of Matt Walker's music. Thanks again, Matt.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's dive into our November Top Music Sheets collection for 2024. I'm so proud to bring it to you. I'm so pleased that we're able to share these with you each and every month. And these aren't just, random collections of poorly edited works that we find on the internet or anything. We collaborate with the author for many months in putting these together. We have an incredible engraver who used to work with Alfred USA, the amazing Albert, who puts these together for us. They are 100% beautifully arranged, edited, and engraved. And they are all for you if you're a Top Music Pro member on any of our plans. So do come and explore, find out more, TopMusicSheets.com if you haven't checked it out yet. Now, next week on the podcast, we're actually meeting the Top Music Sheets composer for the last collection of the year in December, Nicole DiPaolo, and I'm really looking forward to be able to share her music with you as well. Sorry we ended up with back-to-back episodes. It's just how the recording schedule has ended up working, but I know you'll enjoy meeting her just as much as you've enjoyed meeting and hearing about Matt's music. I'm Tim Topham, and you have been listening to the Topcast. I'll speak to you again really, really soon. How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today. If you enjoy this show and want to hear more of our work, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening today. For links and resources mentioned in this episode, visit us at topmusic.co/podcast or check out the show notes. I'm Tim Topham. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll catch you next time.